So Brian from Oxford asks, does hypnosis work? I read somewhere it's all a big con. Well, hypnosis does work. It depends what you mean by work, in what context. So hypnosis is definitely a thing. There's lots of psychological research that's done on hypnosis and lots of results in relation to things like irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, mainly things that have a psychological component. What people don't know is exactly what hypnosis is. So my view on what hypnosis is that it's just a normal part of psychology. There's nothing special about hypnosis. The thing that confuses people the most is they have this label called hypnosis, and everyone has a judgment on what they think that hypnosis is. So I work with people who, I'll hypnotise them, they respond exactly as I would expect them to respond for a hypnotised subject, and yet they'll say to me afterwards, I felt normal, so I wasn't hypnotised, as if somehow they were going to feel different by being hypnotised. So the current way of looking at hypnosis is that it's not a brain state as such, it's more like a state of being than a state of mind. So in the same way that love doesn't have a specific state of mind, there's not a brainwave pattern that says this person is in love, but nobody could deny that love isn't something that definitely exists, the same as many other emotions. So hypnosis is closely linked to things like priming research. So for example, in priming research, if someone holds a warm drink, just briefly, they start warming to people around them. If someone holds a cold drink, they feel more standoffish to people around them. So the ideas contained within holding a drink have shifted the person's view of reality and made them warm to somebody or feel colder to somebody. If somebody sorts words to do with youthfulness into sentences, then they act more youthful after they've sorted those words, whereas if somebody sorts words to do with old age into sentences, they act less fit and more old afterwards. If somebody sees pictures of scientists, their intelligence increases on tests. If somebody sees pictures of models, glamour models, their intelligence decreases on tests because you're primed by the stereotype. If somebody sees Einstein, then their intelligence decreases on tests because you now compare yourself to Einstein, and so you think of yourself as not being so intelligent. If somebody sees one specific famous glamour model, then you do better on tests, intelligence tests, because you now compare yourself to that glamour model and think of yourself as being more intelligent than that glamour model. So that's how hypnosis sort of works, is that what you're doing is, so me as a hypnotist, I'm presenting ideas. I'm not making you, no one would say that seeing a picture of Einstein is doing hypnosis, and yet that is doing hypnosis. So what I'm doing is I'm presenting ideas in a way that hopefully focuses you on a specific path. So for example, if someone wants to quit smoking and I'm using hypnosis to help them, I'll focus on what it is they want instead of the smoking and have their mind focus around that idea. It's not a magical, mystical type of state. There's nothing about hypnosis. When you are in a theatre, say you're in a cinema, you're watching a film, and suddenly a captivating moment happens on the cinema screen just as you're about to drink a drink. And you pause the drink in front of your mouth, and you for 5 minutes watch this captivating moment on the screen, and then once that moment's gone, you finish your drink. And yet for the whole duration of that moment taking place, your arm was levitating in the air, and it felt comfortable, it felt fine, it didn't get heavy, it didn't get tired, it just levitated, the same as you would in hypnosis. So what happened was the attention was caught by something, focused on something. So hypnosis happens naturally all the time. People forget things naturally all the time and have amnesia. People, for example, you could go to a film and need the toilet a little bit, go into the film, watch the whole film, get so drawn into the film that you forget about needing the toilet. Then when you're back at home, fumbling for your keys, trying to get into the front door, suddenly you remember how much you need the toilet, and you need the toilet a lot. So you had amnesia for needing the toilet for all that time. Likewise, people can get cut when they're cooking, and they don't notice any pain until they see the bleeding. So you're chopping away, you cut yourself accidentally, you don't notice you've cut yourself, then you look down, and then you see a bit of blood, and you feel the pain. So again, you didn't feel the pain until you saw the blood. So all of these are things that happen within hypnosis, that people have pain control, people have amnesia, people have catalepsy. All these things happen in hypnosis, but they also all happen in everyday life. All you're doing with hypnosis is focusing on just that one thing though. So whereas catalepsy happening in everyday life, you could be doing lots of other things as well. You could be holding conversations and what have you. With hypnosis, the idea is that you're narrowing the stimulus. So you're helping somebody to be better at what they're doing because they're only focusing on that one thing. So like parking a car. If you're parking a car, you've got a passenger sat next to you, you've got the radio on. The first thing you do, if it's a little bit difficult, is you turn the radio down or turn the radio off, so that you can pay a bit more. So even though it's to do with your ears, not to do with your vision and your movement, you turn the radio off because it helps you to park, because there's less stimulus. If it's really, really difficult to park, you may ask the passenger to get out the car and say, I'll park the car and I'll catch up with you, so that you're in the car on your own, so that you are only focusing on parking the car. So that's the idea with hypnosis. It's about narrowing that focus of attention down to, right, you want to quit smoking, so while you're sat here with me, all we're going to focus on is what's necessary to helping you to quit smoking. We're not going to focus on what shopping you need to do later, or we're not going to focus on this, we're not going to focus on that. We're just going to focus on exactly what you need to do to quit smoking. So with hypnosis, you're just narrowing the focus of attention, you're using words and techniques to stimulate. For example, if I want someone to think about relaxation, I might start talking about holidays, to nice relaxing places, or I might start talking about walking along the beach. So I'll talk about something that's relaxing. Obviously I'd have to know that it's relaxing for the client before I start talking about it, but I'll talk about something that I know the client will find relaxing, and the client will start relaxing. So that's all you're doing with hypnosis. There's nothing magical or mystical about it. It's just normal bog standard psychology, and there's no brainwave pattern to it, but it's also not a con. It's not, people aren't being tricked into anything, and you can do it covertly so that you can see that you're getting the reactions that you want to get without the person knowing they're being hypnotized. So because they don't know they're being hypnotized, so some studies have been done like this, where because the subject doesn't realize that hypnosis is taking place, the results you get with that subject have to be because of what you're doing, not because they're choosing to play along with what you're doing, because they don't know what they're supposed to be playing along to.